Be advised, the opinions and views of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Good morning. My name is Boom San Agustin, and you're on SME Forum. Today, we will start with a bang. We're going to ask the question, why get into business in the first place? Now, let me tell you a little bit about SME Forum. In this show, we will tackle almost everything about business. We're going to tackle how to do stuff, why you do stuff, and when to do stuff. And co-hosting with me for this show, I'd like to introduce Mr. Alvin Tan.
Hello, good morning, everyone. What he said.
Right. And now, I have two guests that are, well, like I said, we're going to start with a bang. And I'd like to introduce my first guest. She's a real estate investor. And well, should I say you're a millionaire or not? Oh, I said it on the air. Okay, let me introduce Miss Eden April Alemania.
Hello, Boom. Hello,
Hi.
everyone. Hi, Alvin.
Hey.
And our second guest, and I'm very honored to have him here also, the author of the book, I'll show you, Think Rich Pinoy, and also a real estate investor, top-notch, using the internet to his advantage. Another millionaire, Mr. Larry Gamboa.
Hello, Boom. Hello, Alvin.
Hi. Welcome.
Thanks for
Welcome to our show. Now, let's kick it off with few introductions. Let's see. I'd like to ask you first, Eden. Tell me exactly what you do right now. What is real estate investing?
Basically, I buy, renovate, sell, and lease properties. So I buy properties at a very steep discount, and then I renovate it, and then I can either sell it on a term basis or cash basis, or I can also lease it to a tenant.
Oh, okay. So you buy real estate,
Yes.
and then do you renovate it
Sometimes.
sometimes,
Yes.
and then you sell it or lease it out?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That must cost a lot of money.
It really depends on the way you acquire the property. Sometimes you buy a property from an auction from the bank for closed assets, which only requires about 20% of the total contract price. So you only shell out the initial 20%.
Okay.
Sometimes we can get a property from a private seller, or sometimes from another bank who wants cash for the property. So we need the entire amount for that property.
Okay. So it depends on the situation at that
Yes.
given time.
Exactly.
All right. Okay. So yeah, go ahead.
What caught my attention was the term steep discount. Right?
Steep discount.
Yeah, you mentioned steep discount.
Yes.
Perhaps we can talk about that maybe later.
Yeah, later
But-
we'll talk about that.
Yeah, my ears perked up with that.
Steep discount.
Yeah.
Remember that. Okay. Now let's go now to our other guest, Mr. Larry Gamboa. Can you tell us, Larry, aside from writing books, what else do you do?
Same as Eden. I buy, sell, rent real estate, and I use money from banks or from private lenders to turn a profit
Yeah.
for myself and the people that I work with.
Oh, okay. So you two have your own companies, I suppose.
Yes.
Okay. So can you tell me what your company is?
It's actually still in the process. It's Manila Open House Corporation.
Manila Open House Corporation.
Yes.
And yours, Larry?
Think Rich Pinoy franchise.
Naturally. Think Rich Pinoy franchise. Did I mention that he wrote the book, right? Okay. So I'll start off with Larry, if you don't mind. Okay. Larry, the question we have in mind here is our topic for today is why get into business? Why get into business in the first place? So I'd like to ask you, why did you decide to become a businessman?
Why decide to become a businessman? Well, I think business is the fastest way to generate cash and cash flow for yourself. You know? You're your own boss. It's tough,
Yeah.
but if you're able to overcome the initial hurdles,
All right.
you call the shots, you have leisure time, you can do it from your home. It's very freeing and liberating.
Oh, okay. So was this what prompted you to write the book, Think Rich Pinoy?
Well, what prompted me to write the book is the experience I had of initially buying real estate from bank auctions like
Yes.
5 years ago and succeeding with a 5-door apartment in San Pedro and then gradually scaling up. And because of that experience, I said, why not share it? Why not tell the story of each deal? You know, the first deal, second deal, you have small deals, and then you get bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And you say, hey, it's the same process, but different stories for each deal, and it's so much fun.
Oh, okay. So you're basically here in Think Rich Pinoy. You're telling a story.
Yes.
You're telling a story of how you made it, basically.
Of the different deals I went through
Yes.
in order to gradually create passive income or cash for myself, and how others began to benefit from the sharing of experience.
I see. So how many people have actually come back to you and say, hey, thank you for this book? Well, I'm one of them. Okay, you can count that.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, it's amazing. Some people write and say, I read the book, I reread the book, and I did my deals. Straight from the book. They just simply applied what they found there. Some say, well, I need more help. So we point them to the Think Rich Pinoy Wealth Seminar. We're having one, by the way, on August 28th.
August 28th,
Yes.
Think Rich Pinoy Wealth Seminar.
Yes.
Later, you can tell us where
Yes,
and what time, okay?
Details, yeah.
And then from the seminar, people get encouraged. They listen to franchisees like Eden
Yeah.
and other franchisees doing the business. And they say, hey, kaya namin ito. I mean, we can do this. It's simple. It's the risk is minimized because risk is always a big concern.
Okay.
And then later on, you find out you don't need big money to get into the game because you leverage the money from the banks themselves, the ones doing the auction.
Wow. Okay. So you mentioned that Eden also takes a part in this. You're a speaker there, aren't you, Eden?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So I'll go to you. What made you first? What made you want to get into business?
I guess it would be relevant to tell my story.
Go ahead.
First, I was an employee in a semiconductor firm for about 3 years. Then there came a point that I felt that employment is not for me. And that's when I decided quite abruptly to go into entrepreneurship.
Oh, okay. Quite abruptly.
Yeah, quite
Yes.
abrupt.
Could you expound on quite abruptly?
Because when I first attended the Think Rich Pinoy seminar, that's when I first met Larry Gamboa. I submitted my resignation to the company, believing that I found what I really want to do in my life.
Also, siyang salarin.
Yeah, okay.
So he's the one who got you into that, right? It's his fault you're rich now.
He's my inspiration.
Whoa,
yes.
okay. So this book actually, Larry's knowledge and his knowledge in this book actually work. You're a recipient of that.
Yes, I'm a living testimony.
Oh, okay. We'll talk after. Huh? Okay. So now here in this show, we want to dig deeper than just ask your stories. Okay? We want to get into your heads a little deeper. So, Larry, were you ever an employee?
Yes, I work for Procter & Gamble.
As what?
I was in the human resource management. I worked in Tondo when
Yeah.
Procter had a plant in Tondo. I just came back from the States. Procter hired me there and then shipped my things here. And I worked with them both in Tondo and in Makati in the human resource area.
Okay. So, just to pick your brain a little bit, what made you decide to move from a secure job, which is Procter and Gamble. You obviously had travel expense, a secure job, and try to get into a business of your own.
It's an accident.
An accident. All right.
From Procter, I joined BidTech, Bancom Institute for Development Technology. It was run by Sixto Rojas and Luis Villafuerte.
Yes.
Their motto was, the difficult takes a while, the impossible a little longer.
Oh, okay.
So they were the avant-garde company at that time. And I oversaw with Victor Ordonez, the late Victor Ordonez, an entity called BidTech, Bancom Institute for Development Technology. There I brought in Development Dimensions International. It's a human resource training company. We tied up with them, we joint ventured with them. Then all of a sudden, Bancom decided to focus on its core business and get rid of all of these side businesses that they got into with Luis Villafuerte,
Yeah.
one of which is DDI. So Vic Ordonez approached me one day, he was my boss, and said, Larry, you want DDI? I said, I don't have the money. He said, no problem, give us a proposal. And I said, okay, you be my first clients, and I'll take over DDI so that I can have the cash flow to run it. And he came back to me and said, done. So Bancom bought, I don't know, maybe $500,000 worth of products from me. That capitalized Development Dimensions ASEAN International, the company that I set up on a joint venture with DDI.
Oh, okay. So you didn't put out any cash
Nope.
for this, and this whole thing, this whole venture, when you got into it, sort of pushed you towards entrepreneurship.
Yes, it fell on my lap.
It fell on your
I
lap.
never sought it. I thought I'd be an employee all my life. And all of a sudden he says, do you want it? And I said, only if you will be my first client, so I don't have any cash out.
Okay, wow. We have a term in Pinoy that says ginisa sa sariling mantika. Parang ganun ba?
Parang ganun, pero masaya yung mantika. Hindi ako
masaya.
napaso, hindi ako napaso.
All right, that's cool. That's amazing. That's an amazing story, Larry. Now let's move to Eden. Am I going too fast for you guys? No.
It's
No,
okay.
It's just okay. Okay, Eden. What was going through your mind? I mean, you listened to Larry speak. You heard what he had to say. You were an employee. You were getting pay 15 and 30, right?
Yes.
PD 15.30. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, payday 15.30. Right, I got that. And what was going on in your mind? What turned you to make that decision?
Well, when I was employed, I loved what I'm doing as a process engineer in that company. But the working hours is not quite, it's not really good for my health. So that is one reason that pushed me to go into entrepreneurship.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't good. So you were thinking that because of health reasons, you wouldn't get into. You'd rather move into another field. Why not another job? Why entrepreneurship?
Because he met Larry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, that answers everything, right? And then Alvin will ask you that question a while ago. Yes.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about that steep discount thing. I mean,
Wait, he hasn't answered the question.
Yeah. I'm still thinking about this thing.
Right.
So, what's the story? What's the story? Why did you choose?
Entrepreneurship.
Yeah, entrepreneurship instead of another
rather
job.
than another job.
Well, health is one of the reasons. Also, I grew tired of the culture, of the corporate culture. So I thought that if I would venture on my own, I will set up my own company. Also, I will have my own work schedule, and everything will be better than what I've been into in the corporate setting.
Oh, okay. So you were banking on your own. Well, didn't it cross your mind that you could fall under? I mean, you know, all that risk and stuff. It's scary, right?
Yes, it is very scary, especially at the beginning. And there was a point maybe about 6 months since I resigned from my previous post that I actually tried to get into employment again. But what stopped me is the real estate deals that I'm working on that time.
Ah, okay. So there was potential. You saw that.
Yes.
Okay, Larry, why real estate?
Again, by accident, you know.
Okay, by accident.
A lot of happy
A lot of
accidents.
accidents in my life.
Accidental millionaire here.
Serendipitous accidents. Well, after the joint venture with DDI, Development Dimensions, that I fell on my lap, I entered into another joint venture. It became a 3-party joint venture, bringing in SGV, the mammoth accounting firm. Mammoth at the time because they dominated the accounting profession, not only in the Philippines, but Asia. And this was during the martial law days.
All right.
So the Philippine economy dropped. And of course, everything dropped, including management training, which was where Development Dimensions was. So the only solution I could think was to go outside the Philippines and start marketing in Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore. And as I sold DDI and the training programs abroad, I noticed SGV was in each country. So one day I called up SGV and said, I'd like to speak to Mr. Washington CSIP, chairman.
Okay, yes.
And
Just
they said,
like
who
that,
are
huh?
you? Just like that.
Main man.
And it happened to be
Sigan.
his secretary who answered, and she said, who are you? I said, I'm Larry Gamboa. How can we help you? I said, I'd like to meet with Mr. CSIP regarding an interesting proposal that he might want to look into.
Okay.
And surprisingly, she listened and set up an appointment with Mr. CSIP.
Whoa. Talk about faith.
Go straight, you know, and it works. And when I met Mr. CSIP, you should see him. He's a short guy. His trademark is an owl. He's got owls all over his office. He's the owl. He's the wise man in business. He can enter the most boardrooms in the Philippines and abroad more than any other Filipino.
Okay.
So within 5 to 10 minutes, he said, what can I do for you? And I mentioned, I have this human resource company, and I want to enter Asia, and here's how we're doing here. And within 10 minutes, he says, okay, I like what you're saying. Give us a chance to look at your company records, and we'll see.
Oh, okay. And how did that propel you to real estate?
Well, I ran that company. We shook hands on it. It was a 3-way joint venture. It's the only company that SGV, Mr. CSIP, ever teamed up with an individual, mainly myself. They are used to the big corporations. After 10 years of doing that, I sold my shares to SGV.
Whoa.
I cashed out.
Okay.
And was doing nothing as a result of that. And I did a project for Mr. Ramos called The Philippines Means Business, a CD-ROM on investing in the Philippines.
Okay.
After that was done, I did one for Gabriel Singson of Bangko Sentral, banking on the Philippines, and all CD-ROM based, technology based. There was still no internet at that time. The first connection to the internet was the database of Bangko Sentral. Then I was looking around for something to do.
Okay.
And real estate caught my eye. I started going to the banks, looking at real estate opportunities, and everything was down then. You know, martial law, real estate market was at the doldrums. So 100+ billion pesos worth of properties were foreclosed. They were in the banks were hurting, and they were figuring out how do we get rid of these non-performing assets.
Okay.
Strange term. How can you be an asset and non-performing? Kiyosaki says assets put money in your pocket.
Well,
They're non-performing.
Well, I can tell you that some people I know are like that.
Okay. Non-performing assets. Okay. And that's when I stumbled into real estate because when I went to the banks and started filling up the forms, you know, banks always like lots of forms. And when I put in my age, somebody said, "Sir, am I right that you're 57 years old?" That was several years ago.
Yeah.
And I said, "Yes." And I said, "Sir, I'm sorry." I said, "Why?" "Well, you're 57. After 60, there's no more life after 60 because you're no longer bankable. We cannot loan you any more money."
Okay, so Larry, I have to cut you there. We're going on a break, but right after the break, we will see what happened with this bank story. And we will also see your question too.
Yes.
All right, so we're going on our break now, and that's it. And we're back. And here, before you left, we were listening to a story about a bank, about how you did. You were looking for, just to remind the audience, you were looking for real estate deals in banks, and they were
Concerned about your age.
They were concerned about your age. And then what happened?
Well, they told me there's no life after 60. They can't lend because amortizations will be too big.
Yeah.
You have only 3 years. And you have to pay. So they said, "Sir, sorry. Hindi mo pwede. We can't sell you any properties.
Oh, no.
We can't loan money to you for any. So, sorry lang, no?" And that was the end.
Okay.
Until someone gave me a call and said, "Larry, there is a solution to your problem of age." Not
Oh.
AIDS, age.
Yes,
Okay.
age.
Okay.
Yeah. There's
And I
a
said, "What?"
spelling difference there.
Person said, "Auctions."